Imagine like stepping onto a treadmill, right? And you are just sprinting at your maximum physical capacity for, say, 4 months straight.
Oh, wow. That sounds awful.
Right. It is. But imagine you do it, and right when you are literally inches away from the finish line, you just hit the stop button, step off the machine, and walk away.
You just give up right at the end.
Exactly. And the crazy thing is, statistically speaking, if you are starting a new career today, there is an 87% chance that is exactly what you are going to do.
Man, 87%. That is just a staggering failure rate.
It really is. You want the momentum, you want the financial freedom, but you end up trapped in this soul-crushing grind that, well, it makes you abandon ship right before the tipping point.
And I mean, it happens because most people who enter a complex industry, and we are specifically looking at real estate today for this deep dive, they get handed a playbook that was written like a decade ago.
Yeah, totally outdated.
Exactly. So we've got this really fascinating transcript from a YouTube video by Mike Sherrard on the table today. And he basically maps out the modern era blueprint for building a career.
Okay, I love this.
Yes, specifically, it's his framework for the absolute fastest path to making your first $100,000 as an agent.
Okay, and just to set the stakes here for you listening, trying to build a lucrative career using advice from even just 10 years ago is a lot like trying to navigate a brand new, rapidly changing city with a 10-year-old paper map.
That is a perfect way to put it, a paper map.
Right. I mean, sure, the traditional 2015 era advice, the endless cold calling, the door knocking, handing out business cards at the grocery store, it technically still works.
Typically.
Yeah. Like you might eventually get to your destination, but you are going to hit a ridiculous amount of dead ends, construction zones, and one-way streets along the way. So our mission today is looking for that new cartography.
And the landscape has fundamentally shifted. I mean, before we even touch on the shiny new tactics or the social media platforms or, the artificial intelligence tools Sherrard discusses, we have to look at the psychological traps.
Right. The stuff that wipes out that 87%.
Exactly. He calls this initial phase the Valley of Despair.
The Valley of Despair. I mean, that just sounds incredibly bleak.
It really does.
So if 87% of people fail, not because the eventual tactics don't work, but because human patience just expires at exactly 4 months. Well, wait, what is actually happening in their brains during that window? Like, how does anyone survive that?
So Sherrard breaks down the trajectory of what he calls the quitter. They start on day 0 with, maximum motivation.
Oh, sure. They're hyped.
Right, they just got their license, they are ready to change their lives, and they try their first method of lead generation. And just to define that quickly for anyone who doesn't know, lead generation simply means getting a potential client's contact information in exchange for offering them some kind of value.
Right, so they try to get those leads, and the instant gratification just doesn't happen.
It never happens on day 1.
Hmm.
But because they expect it to, their motivation just plummets almost immediately.
Yeah, it makes sense.
So by month 2, reality sets in. The savings account is draining, the initial excitement is completely gone, they start questioning the strategy, so they pivot to something entirely different.
Oh, the shiny object syndrome.
Exactly. They try TikTok for a week, then give up and try direct mail. And by month 4, they have completely exhausted their emotional bandwidth and they just flatline. They quit.
Whoa.
Yeah, they're completely stuck in that valley of despair.
But then there's the other side of the coin, right? The remaining 13% who actually make it. What are they doing differently in month 2 and month 4?
So Sherrard calls that 13% the builders. Their trajectory looks totally different because honestly, their expectations are fundamentally different.
So?
Well, they might start a little slower on day 1, but they realize from the jump that it is a long game. They push past that critical month 4 mark where everyone else is, pivoting or quitting.
Right.
And by month 5, their business starts to show a pulse. And then by months 8 to 12, they hit this exponential growth phase where they're achieving potential they never even thought was possible.
That is wild. So to be in that 13%, you essentially have to rewire your brain to ignore the lack of immediate results.
That's exactly it.
I noticed Sherrard outlines 3 specific mindset shifts to make that happen. The first one he mentions is discipline, but he defines it in a very unromantic way.
Yeah, he does. He
Yeah.
defines discipline strictly as following through with the commitments you make to yourself, regardless of how you feel in the moment.
Which hits hard, I mean, because we all negotiate with
Oh,
ourselves.
constantly.
He gives this scenario of an agent who blocks out time on a Monday morning to do the heavy lifting, like prospecting for clients or recording a video. But Monday rolls around, they are tired, and they just don't feel like it.
Right. Or a friend asks them to go grab coffee during that exact time block.
Yes. And they cave. They skip the work because the immediate reward of a coffee sounds so much better than the delayed reward of a potential client, like 6 months from now.
And that internal negotiation is the silent killer of momentum, which ties directly into his second psychological requirement, which is delayed gratification.
Right.
Sherrard argues that the person who wins in this modern era is simply the one who can extend their time horizon the longest.
Okay, I have to jump in here and push back on something in the source material because this advice felt honestly kind of wild to me.
Oh, the long-term commitment part.
Yes. He says, instead of committing to try a strategy for 3 months or even a year, you should look in the mirror and say, I'm going to be doing real estate for the next 10 to 20 years. I will do this until it works out.
Yeah, that's what he says.
Isn't telling a brand new, hungry agent, someone who probably needs to pay their rent next month, to just, prepare for 20 years of this incredibly overwhelming... I mean, that sounds like a recipe for a panic attack.
It does sound intense on the surface, but if you look at the underlying psychology, it's actually a pressure release valve.
A release valve? How?
It's a mental trick to neutralize the fear of immediate failure. I mean, think about it. If you tell yourself you only have 3 months to make this work and month 2 ends with 0 clients, your cortisol levels are through the roof.
Oh, absolutely. You're terrified.
You panic. You make desperate, short-sighted decisions. You ultimately quit. Yeah. But if you genuinely, deeply commit to a 10 or 20-year horizon, a 3-month try spell is literally just a blip on the radar.
Oh, I see. It changes the scale of the problem. Like, a bad month isn't a catastrophe. It's just a bad month in a 20-year career. It turns down the volume on the panic.
Exactly the point. It gives you the emotional resilience to keep executing. And execution brings us to his third requirement, which is consistency. But he places a massive asterisk on this.
Which is?
Doing the wrong activities perfectly every day will still leave you broke. Doing the right activities consistently beats doing the wrong things perfectly.
Wow. And the brutal reality of doing the right activities is that they often yield zero feedback for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
There is a story in the transcript about an agent named Anthony Aspacto that is just like the ultimate proof of this entire concept.
The Anthony case study is remarkable. He committed to the right activity, which was building a digital footprint. He posted 2 well-researched YouTube videos a week, every single week, for 12 months.
And he got absolutely 0 leads. Nothing. Like crickets for an entire year.
12 straight months of nothing.
Most people would have quit at month 3 and just blamed the YouTube algorithm.
Totally. But he had extended his time horizon, he pushed through the valley of despair, and on his 13th month, the momentum finally tipped, and he got his first client from one of those videos.
That is incredible.
And according to Sherrard's data, ever since that 13th month, Anthony has averaged a closed deal every single week.
A deal a week, wow.
Yeah, he completely altered his family's financial future because he refused to negotiate with himself during those first 12 months of silence.
Okay, so let's say you've mentally prepared for the valley of despair. Your mindset is bulletproof. You understand delayed gratification. Where do you actually go to find that crucial first client?
Right, the million-dollar question.
Because the instinct for most people is to, print out 1,000 business cards and start handing them to complete strangers at the gas station. But Sherrard says you shouldn't be looking at strangers at all.
No, not at all. This is a major pivot point in the strategy. He calls it unlocking your database. The single biggest mistake a new agent makes is trying to play what he calls a secret agent.
A secret agent, yes. The psychology behind this is so weird, but so common.
It really is.
People get their license, but they don't want to tell their family or their friends or their old coworkers. They have this bizarre desire to prove themselves to complete strangers first.
Right. They want to get a few successful deals under their belt before letting their inner circle know they've completely changed careers.
Which is entirely backward from a business perspective, right?
Completely backward. Cold leads, those complete strangers you meet at the gas station or, buy from an internet ad, they are objectively the worst leads for a beginner to handle.
Why is that?
Because they have absolutely zero trust in you. They have the highest expectations because they are trusting you with their largest financial asset. They are incredibly expensive to acquire. And honestly, if you make a tiny, understandable rookie mistake on the paperwork, they are the first ones to leave a brutal one-star review that can permanently cripple a new business.
Oh, that makes so much sense. Whereas your warm and hot leads your friends, your family, your past colleagues. They already know you, they like you, and they trust your character.
Exactly.
They are going to give you some grace as you learn the ropes of the actual paperwork.
The trust is already established. But, and Sherrard is very careful to point this out, there is a specific strategic way to tap into that warm network.
Yeah.
You cannot just throw up a generic post on Facebook or Instagram that says, "New chapter, just got my real estate license, let me know if you want to buy a house."
Right, because nobody cares.
No one.
To put that in perspective, a generic "I got my license" post is kind of like a movie studio releasing a trailer that only shows the title of the film and literally nothing else.
That is a great comparison.
Like no plot, no characters, no conflict, no reason to care.
Yeah.
If you don't give people the why, nobody is going to buy a ticket to your show.
And taking that movie trailer analogy a step further, if you don't provide the plot, the audience is going to invent one.
Oh, interesting.
Sherrard calls this controlling the narrative. He points out a very harsh reality about public perception, which is that people often assume that if you just suddenly got into real estate, it's because you failed at your last job, or you got fired, or you're just looking for a get-rich-quick scheme.
Ouch. But, I mean, true, the barrier to entry is notoriously low, so people do make assumptions.
So you have to actively combat that. You have to provide the context. You must post exactly why you got into the business, what your previous professional background was, and how you were committed to doing things differently to serve your community.
Right, you have to own the story.
When you provide that level of vulnerability and context, you eliminate those negative assumptions. You show you're treating it like a profession, not just a hobby.
And the numbers back this up in a massive way. Sherrard actually shares his own personal origin story regarding this.
He does.
When he started out, he transitioned from a career as an engineer. He didn't hide it. He controlled the narrative. He reached out to his past engineering colleagues, explained exactly why he moved to real estate, and offered his help.
And the results were crazy.
He got 7 deals in his first year strictly from those past coworkers. With an average commission of $10,000, that was $70,000 he generated simply by swallowing his pride and talking to people he already knew.
It's an incredible return on investment for simply communicating effectively with your existing network. But of course, the natural limitation of a warm database is that it's finite.
Yeah, you eventually run out of friends and family.
Exactly. You eventually run out of former colleagues to sell homes to. So you need a sustainable, automated way to bring in new people.
Right. You need to build a machine that brings those difficult, skeptical, cold leads directly to you so you aren't out there chasing them. And that brings us to what the source calls the content engine,
Yes.
which hinges on this really fascinating concept of the platform tree decision.
So the premise of the platform tree decision is that forcing yourself onto a social media platform that doesn't match your natural personality is just a recipe for burnout.
Makes sense.
If you are highly visual and love curating aesthetics, Instagram is your best bet. If you are very comfortable on camera, highly energetic, and genuinely playful, TikTok is the way to go. And if you are naturally analytical and prefer to be an educator, you should be on YouTube.
I love that he doesn't just theorize about this either. He brings the receipts for all of them. What were those case studies he mentioned?
The data he provides is striking. He mentions an agent named Amanda who focused purely on Instagram aesthetics and made $100,000 in her first 8 months. Then he highlights Noah Ward, who leaned into his energetic personality on TikTok and hit $100,000 a month in commission.
A month.
A month. As a 24-year-old brand new agent. And then there is Suman Kim, who took the educator route on YouTube and broke $1 million in his very first year.
So the evidence clearly shows all of them can work. But Sherrard makes a very compelling argument that YouTube is the undisputed king of the modern era, particularly if you want leverage.
He builds his case for YouTube on a few foundational pillars. First, there is virtually no competition. According to his data, less than 1% of real estate agents are actually using YouTube properly.
That's crazy low.
Most are just uploading like blurry video tours of houses that already sold.
Right, which nobody watches.
Exactly. Second, YouTube provides evergreen leverage.
Evergreen leverage. Okay, this is where the light bulb really went on for me. Because an Instagram post or a TikTok video, it basically vanishes into the feed in 24 hours. It's fleeting. But a YouTube video addressing a specific question like, cost of living in Dallas 2026 that works for you 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, for years on end.
It really does.
It's basically a highly skilled, free employee that never takes a day off. But the third reason he gives for prioritizing YouTube, I mean, this is the one that completely alters the landscape.
The integration of artificial intelligence.
Yes. Wait, let me just make sure I have the mechanics of this right. Are people actually using AI chatbots like ChatGPT or Claude to search for the best real estate agent in my city instead of using a traditional Google search?
Yes. The search behavior of the average consumer is fundamentally shifting beneath our feet right now. We are transitioning from traditional link-based search engines to conversational AI models.
That is so wild to think about.
When a user asks an AI like Claude for a detailed local recommendation, say, who is the most knowledgeable realtor for relocating to Austin, Texas?
Yeah.
That AI doesn't just pull up a list of websites. It needs to pull from authoritative, high-density informational sources to construct its actual answer.
And because YouTube videos are heavily text-based, once they are transcribed, the AI just feeds on them.
Precisely the mechanism. Large language models crave structured text. YouTube automatically transcribes every single word you say in a video, categorizes it, and indexes it.
Wow.
A heavily curated Instagram photo has very little text for an AI to analyze. But a 10-minute educational YouTube video, that is a gold mine of data. So these AI platforms are frequently pulling YouTube transcripts and recommending those specific creators as the top local authority.
That is wild. By making a video, you are essentially programming the AI to recommend you.
Exact.
And this completely levels the playing field for brand new agents, doesn't it?
It destroys the old hierarchy.
Yeah.
I mean, in the past, a 10-year industry veteran had a massive unfair advantage. They knew exactly what to say in a video, what topics resonated with buyers, and how to structure the SEO, the search engine optimization, essentially the dark art of making your content show up first.
Right.
A veteran might have spent $100,000 on private coaching to learn those skills. A new agent just had to guess and hope for the best.
But now you don't have to guess. You can literally sit down, open ChatGPT, and ask the AI for the exact strategy.
Yep.
You can say, act as an expert real estate marketer. Give me the top 10 YouTube video topics for first-time buyers in Chicago.
Right.
Write the outlines and give me the SEO tags.
And boom.
It gives you the entire playbook in 10 seconds for free. The veteran's tenure advantage is just wiped out. You can generate an entire, highly optimized content machine with zero previous marketing experience.
And Sherrard frames this as the single biggest opportunity in the history of the real estate industry. But, and this is a significant but, when you stack all of this up, networking with your database, filming and editing YouTube videos, learning how to prompt AI, and actually showing houses, it sounds like a recipe for an 80-hour work week.
Oh, totally. If I'm listening to this right now, I'm probably feeling incredibly overwhelmed. It sounds like you need to be a full-time media company and a full-time salesperson.
Right.
But Sherrard claims you can actually execute this entire modern blueprint and hit 6 figures working just 3 hours a day.
3 hours of highly focused, productive work. That distinction is everything.
Okay, unpack that for us.
To understand how that math works, we have to look at the brutal truth of how most agents actually spend their time. Technically, a real estate agent has 3 core activities: get clients, service clients, and nurture past clients.
Right. But if you are brand new, your pipeline is a ghost town. You have no clients to service, which means you have 0 past clients to nurture. So you actually only have one job in the beginning, and that is get clients.
And yet, new agents fall into a massive productivity trap. To avoid that one job, they fill their days with busy work that masquerades as real work. The most glaring example Sherrard points to is the CRM, the Customer Relationship Management software. It's basically a digital Rolodex for tracking leads.
Okay, I have to use a fitness analogy here because this specific trap drives me crazy.
Go for it.
Fiddling with a digital Rolodex when you have absolutely 0 clients is like spending 2 hours meticulously organizing your gym bag, color coordinating your towels, picking out the perfect workout outfit, and reading reviews on water bottles, but then never actually lifting a single weight.
Yes.
It feels like you're doing something related to fitness, but you are literally just procrastinating the heavy lifting.
The psychology is identical. You are confusing motion with action. If you have no clients, you have nothing to manage in that software. So Sherrard strips the new agent's calendar down to the absolute minimum. He recommends focusing on just 2 methods of lead generation. one active method and one passive method.
The active method being something where you are physically out in the world trying to shake hands, like hosting an open house on a Sunday from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m.
Exactly. And the passive method is building that evergreen leverage we discussed, like recording your YouTube content. He suggests blocking out your historically slowest day, maybe a Wednesday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., just to sit down and film.
Then he adds just 2 hours of daily prospecting, 2 hours of actively reaching out to that warm database or following up on the leads your YouTube channel generated, maybe 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. every single day.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's the heavy lifting.
When you look at a weekly calendar and block out only those essential income-producing activities, the visual result is shocking. There is a massive amount of empty space left over.
He actually shows a sample calendar, and he aggressively blocks out time for life's real priorities first.
Right.
He blocks out time for faith, like Sunday mornings, time for family, ensuring every single dinner from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. is protected and offline, time for fitness from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. every day. Even with all those personal priorities protected, the math still easily works out. It's just about 3 hours of highly focused work each day.
It is a profoundly simple schedule. But as the source material notes, simple does not mean easy.
Definitely not.
Because those 3 hours consist of the exact activities most people actively try to avoid. Picking up the phone, recording a video when you feel awkward on camera, facing rejection. It takes us right back to that first psychological pillar. Discipline. Executing the calendar requires doing what you said you'd do when you don't want to do it.
And whether you actually maintain that discipline over a 10-year horizon often comes down to the final piece of Sherrard's blueprint, which is your environment.
The old adage holds true, right? You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. In the real estate industry, your environment usually equates to your brokerage, the office where you hang your license.
He strongly warns against toxic brokerages, places with high monthly fees, generic mentorship where nobody actually helps you, and break rooms filled with agents who just sit around complaining all day.
The source material is very explicit about this. Struggling agents are almost invariably found in environments conducive to toxic, defeatist conversations. Instead of making their calls, they sit around finding external factors to blame for their lack of success.
What kind of factors?
Well, the transcript notes, they will blame the local housing market, they will blame macroeconomic trends, or they will spend hours arguing about and blaming politics.
Just finding every possible excuse to justify why they aren't doing those 3 hours of uncomfortable work. If you are a new agent, you need to be in an active community of builders who share information, discuss AI prompts, and support each other. If everyone in your office thinks making YouTube videos is a stupid waste of time, you are never going to survive that valley of despair we talked about at the beginning. You will assimilate to their mediocrity.
It is a completely interconnected ecosystem.
Yeah.
Your environment shapes your daily mindset. Your mindset dictates whether you will have the courage to leverage your warm database and the patience to build a modern content engine. And your discipline determines if you will actually execute that 3-hour minimalist calendar.
So, synthesizing all of this for you, the listener, the modern era of building a lucrative career isn't about blind, aimless hustle. You don't need a 2015 paper map, and you don't need to grind for 80 hours a week.
Nope.
True success requires the psychological fortitude to push through the initial flatline of the valley of despair. It means swallowing your pride and telling the people who already trust you why you are doing this, so you control your own narrative. It's about leveraging the evergreen 24/7 power of YouTube and using artificial intelligence to completely eliminate the veteran's learning curve. It's executing just 3 hours of focused income-producing work daily while ignoring the CRM busy work. And finally, it's about guarding your environment, fiercely surrounding yourself with builders, not complainers.
It is a highly efficient, modern system when you view all 5 of those pieces working in tandem. The friction is really removed.
It really is. But, looking at this entire blueprint, it actually leaves me with a pretty wild thought to chew on.
Oh yeah, what's that?
If evergreen platforms like YouTube truly act as a 24/7 employee that never sleeps, and if AI can do all the back-end strategizing, the scripting, and the search engine optimization that a manager used to do, what happens to the traditional real estate brokerage model entirely?
Oh, wow.
I mean, think about it. If individual agents can become their own highly scalable, AI-powered media companies from day one using a 3-hour calendar, does the traditional corporate brokerage even need to exist in the future?
That is a fascinating implication. I mean, the technology is rapidly democratizing the very resources, the training, and the reach that massive corporate brokerages use to monopolize. It's definitely something the industry is going to have to reckon with as this modern era continues to evolve.
Something for you to mull over as you ditch that 10-year-old paper map and start navigating this new landscape. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into the modern mechanics of real estate success. Keep questioning the old advice, keep learning the new tools, and we will catch you on the next one.